Hello and welcome back. This is Candace from Candoodle, and today I'm going to be making this clean and simple floral card using a digi-stamp. So let's get started. I started off by using the Calla Lily digi-stamp from 3 Room Studio, and I printed that off on my heavyweight cardstock and cut my panel down to 3 1/4 by 5 3/4. So that's going to be a smaller slimline size. Once that was done, I got out my Copics and started coloring. Again, I am not an expert at this and I am trying to push myself out of my comfort zone, so I actually added in one of the fluorescent Copics to this mix, and I know it looks like a bit of a hot mess when it blends with the other V's, but it actually ended up looking pretty good. I saw this on Pinterest somewhere where it was talking about blending, and I thought I would try it out, and this actually ended up looking kind of like calla lilies, at least the pictures that I was looking at. I had to educate myself of what a calla lily looked like before starting coloring this, but I think Sandy nailed it on the illustration, and they are super true to what they actually look like. And so I'm going through and I'm just adding that really deep fluorescent color towards the centers and then trying to blend it out with my other V colors. And I start with the lightest and then work to the darkest and back out to lightest. But by the time I got to the last flower, I realized it was actually better to start just with the darkest because the tones of the colors were so different. And I just found that I got a much deeper violet when I didn't put the lighter color down first, if that makes sense. So then once those were done, I came in with some greens for the stems and I just used my usual YG sort of combinations and tried to add some shadows. I was originally planning to keep this really clean and simple and just do the flowers, but it looked a bit naked, so I decided I wanted to do some ink blending around it. So I cut some teeny tiny little masks to mask off those stems, and they're actually just post-it notes that I had lying around, so I cut them down to super thin so they would go over the stems. So it took some piecemealing together, but everything got covered and that's what counts. And then I was originally planning to only come in with my lightest color of ink, which is Altenew Wisteria, and just go around those flowers, but I got a little bit heavy-handed and then it didn't quite look like what I was going for, so I decided instead I was going to do like a reverse blend. So I covered the entire thing in wisteria, and then towards the edges, I came in with a darker color, which is ultraviolet, and I did end up adding a little bit of Andromeda around the very edges as well, which is just one step darker. And so I kind of got like a reverse glow on these flowers, which seems to be something I'm doing lately in a lot of my different card making styles. I just like when the middle images look like they're glowing. So anyways, now we're down to my favorite part, which is peeling off the masks. It is so satisfying. This is my favorite part of doing masking. It makes all of it worth it. And once that was done, the last thing that's left is my sentiment. So I am using one of these simple sentiments from 3 Room Studio, which you'll see in a second. But first I'm getting this glued down to my card base. So my card base is 3 1/2 by 6. So it's just a little bit bigger and adds that nice white mat around my card panel. So now I'm coming in with my little template I made using my honeybee sentiment strips. This is something that I keep on hand. That way, anytime I want to stamp a sentiment, it's super easy to get it lined up nice and straight on any of the banners of the size that I choose. And I'm going to heat emboss this one, so I use some Versamark ink and I stamp that down, and then I'm going to use some white heat embossing powder. I like to stamp it twice just to make sure I have some really nice coverage. So I did that off screen, and as you can see, it says happy anniversary. I played around with where I wanted this and I decided I was going to cut one of the tails off so it would butt up right nice to the side. And then I cut another banner out. I actually cut 2 of them. That way I could layer them up and add some dimension. This is something I like to do instead of adding foam tape, just to give some extra dimension and make it look really nice and clean at the side, especially when I am doing a more clean and simple card design. And of course, it wouldn't be a card of mine if we didn't add some gems or sequins of some sort. So these ones are from Studio Katia, and they actually pick up perfectly on the purple. And I thought those looked really pretty. And so there we have the final card. Thank you so much for joining me today. I always appreciate the time that you spend here. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. As always, you can find me over on Instagram at Candoodle Creations. And until then, I will see you in my next video. Bye!